get going. Preparing the live stream. Thank you for coming. Should I say? All right, we're good whenever you are. Okay, great.
Welcome. Leanne will take roll.
Nick, not here.
Jake?
Jake said he was gonna join on Zoom, so I will let you know when he gets here.
Okay.
Elizabeth?
Oh, yeah, he's here.
Hi, Jake.
Okay.
Not yet, but here we go. Yeah.
And here, Christine.
Here.
And Pam.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Jake.
Hi.
And we also have Ashley present. Will Lisa be here?
Lisa's not gonna be here.
I let the minutes show that a quorum is present. The agenda is before us. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Great. All right, the question is on the approval of the agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, the agenda has been approved. All right, first order of business is reviewing and approving the minutes from our March 12th meeting. Did people have a chance to look at those? All right, great. Any changes needed, any errors? All right, the question is on the approval of the minutes from March 12th. All those in favor say aye.
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 The ayes have it. The meeting minutes have been approved. The next order of business is to review and approve the minutes from February 12th work session. Any comments, changes needed? Great. The question is on the approval. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. The minutes from February 12th work session have been approved. All right. Next up is committee reports. We'll start with government.
Let's see. Elizabeth, I heard last month that you did complete all 10 hours. Is that correct?
I did, yes.
Okay, good. Congratulations. And I have not heard about whether Jake or Nick have done any training hours. Jake?
Jake, have you been able to do any hours?
I have not, no, that's on my list.
Okay, great.
And then I know that Christine and Pam and I have completed about 5 hours of training.
All right. And then are there audit updates this?
Yes, Ashley. So I'll give you guys an update. So our audits performed annually by an independent auditor as required. It was officially, the FY25 audit was officially released last month. We were issued a clean, unmodified opinion, meaning the financials were fairly presented. Our general fund is operating with a surplus of $538,000, an increase of $19,000 from the previous year. Total cash and cash equivalents are at $1,579,000. We met our collateralization requirements. So it was a great audit. However, we did have one finding. It is the lowest level finding, other matters. It is over internal controls over leave balances. So during the audit, it was discovered an employee was allowed to carry over more personal leave than the policy allows. We do have a corrective action in place to establish monthly monitoring and a policy review. Again, it's a compliance finding, not a financial loss. So the severity is low and we have a resolution in place. So I just want to highlight all of that. And again, we do have an audit committee where we went over all the financials in detail. I have provided the audit within your board packet. Feel free to, I can answer any questions you may have. But that's the summary of the audit.
Congratulations,
Yes,
you guys did a great job internally.
It's awesome. Yeah, I know that's not easy. So.
No,
Yeah,
a hard task and we gotta all work together to meet it. I mean,
it's really exciting.
Like Ashley and Cynthia are a good team to keep everything
Yeah,
organized. Just make sure we follow every
yeah.
aspect.
That's amazing. Do you all know, this is like a niche question, but with the binding on the audit, even though it's not financial, if we're gonna need to do the extra hour of training.
more than likely, yes,
Okay.
you'll dog it. Hey,
Yeah.
we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though. it's-
Yeah. Okay. All right, next up is the financial report.
Yeah, so we did all meet this month to go over the financials in detail. Overall, the school is stable. Our financial position is midway through the school year. It's a healthy budget. We have 2.7 million in revenue received, 2.6 million in expenditures encumbered, and 1.6 million in encumbrances. Overall, it's a healthy budget. We're maintaining strong liquidity. Our ending bank balance was 1.6 million, so we're at a great position. Again, I have no immediate concerns. There wasn't much change from the month prior to report on. I don't have any budget adjustment requests for your approval this month. And then I think the last piece is just confirming her reconciliation.
I did, this morning. We did get a bar for next month though, right, about
Yes.
carryover.
So again,
Value adjustment.
as our unit value has a final adjustment for this fiscal year, we got it now, right after the board materials were sent out. But we're anticipating an increase of over 130,000 for our overall SEM funding. Again, this increase is due to just increases in enrollment, entering into new program membership, and full-time was funded allocated, so. It's a significant increase, we're happy. Again, getting the award notice is always towards the end of the year, so. We'll use what we can this year.
And does it roll over?
Yes.
And you said, 130?
Yes, and again, at next month meeting, I'll give you a little more detail as what it encompasses and how.
Okay. Next up is our monthly compliance review for April. And so we are looking this month at the students with disability section of the handbook.
Do you want to get time to
Yeah.
look at it like we did last week?
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
Really a
Yeah,
lot.
it's a lot, and it's, a lot of them are state required policies that are just the same from school to school, district to district, because it's law.
Maybe you could highlight the stuff that's
Sure.
just not
For sure.
the same at every school.
Yes.
How would that be? It's a great idea. We can do that.
Like legal stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
involved,
there
right, so-
really is, yeah.
That's a lot of it. That's
Yeah.
taking up pages.
And I think, I mean, the main thing I think that I just want to make sure we highlight is, that we have these, in place. So I think the handbook, so the handbook itself, so the document that says special education, the documents that say special education template policies and procedures, those are template policies and procedures. That's basically the school based assuring that we're following special education law and IDEA. So those are very similar school to school. The Students with Disabilities Handbook is a little bit more tailored to, or a lot more tailored to Altura Preparatory School. And so basically what these policies cover, I can just kind of summarize, because I think, is the process by which the school identifies students who might have a disability, evaluates students who might have a disability, and then provides services to students who do indeed have a disability as identified through that evaluation process. And that's basically making sure that students with a disability, so, a specific learning disability, something where like dyslexia might lead to that diagnosis, or another health impairment, visual impairment, hard of hearing, any of those types of needs that would lead to a student having a deficit, for lack of a better word, in the classroom that impacts their learning and requires supports to be able to have a similar experience to their general education peers. And so this talks through how, or writes through how, the school teachers in the regular classroom regularly assess students, notice any gaps, are providing intervention to students who are below typical grade level, and then referring them for additional testing or intervention. And so our school does all of that with the idea that students provided supports get or can reach the same outcomes as their neurotypical peers, basically. And so that's what we do here. And we have a special education teacher who monitors student needs and provides services and interventions and accommodations and supports. And then we have, maybe drop, sorry. Jake had to get that back in. And then, and provides those as written in the IEP document. So the other thing that we have to make sure we do is follow all of the procedures for providing families adequate notice of an IEP meeting to review their child's outcomes and accommodations and needs and supports. Have the meeting, every child with an IEP has to have a meeting annually, and they have to be reevaluated every 3 years to make sure that the information that we're basing the interventions on is, or the supports on, is accurate. And that when students don't qualify, that we're exiting them appropriately back into general education, because the idea is that the best place for a child is what's called the least restrictive environment. That means with their peers, it means in the classroom with their teacher, and then as we get into different special education supports, it's a more restricted, like as we go up, we're getting more and more what's called restrictive in terms of student placement, other number of kids, and the amount of services provided. So that's that's what's in the same.
You do all of the testing here?
We do, so we contract with a diagnostician, and we typically work with the same 1 or 2 individuals who know our kind of process. When we identify a student that we think might qualify for special education or might be in need of special education services, once we get consent from a family, we have 60 days to have the evaluation completed and hold the meeting. And so we need to have a good relationship with those individuals to be able to get them in and get the kids tested. And once the evaluation is done, the diagnostician will interpret the results with the family and the school in a meeting. And then if that team determines that the student needs additional support in classroom, then we'll create what's called an IEP, the Individualized Education Program. And then those services are then provided. It's a legal document. Those services are then required to be provided as written to the child for that year. So
What about behavioral health? Do you do IEPs for behavioral health? I have no idea.
it depends on severity, educational impact. Yeah, there's a lot of different factors that go into that. In order to qualify for special education, there has to be a gap between the student's intellectual ability and their achievement as measured in these diagnostic evaluations. So, yeah.
If a student had needed one of those settings where it's like full all day special education, does the state give money for that, or is
So
that the school,
yes, so then the way the funding works is that, so special education, when you're creating the IEP, there are different settings, and then there's different percentages of time where a student's in those settings, and those generate different amounts of funding. And so there's 4 tiers, A, B, C, D. A is the least restrictive, B is a little slightly more, and then C and then D. Which is the D is.
And that's outside of our regular budgetary allotment.
Well, it goes into, it's
goes
all
into it.
calculated within the SEG 910B5.
Does it really cover the cost?
I
Of
think
course.
it depends, I think it depends. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot.
Because it seems like some of that would be very expensive to do
It
for
would
a
be,
small
it
school.
would be, and, yeah, it is. So
This is helpful.
that's
Thank
kind of,
you.
yeah, if you have questions after reviewing more, please feel free to reach out and.
And if there are federal changes, do you usually get alerted, like to be able to say like, hey, this is a new, like does the state and let you know to say?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
And if I remember correctly, we're doing all of the enrichment in the classroom, there's no pullout program.
There's both.
There is both, okay.
Yeah.
All right, next up is equity.
Yeah.
Rich,
Actually, I just came from the Equity Council. We have done in the past book conversations, and today was it was much like here's the nuts and bolts of the budgeting process. And I'm happy to share, and I can send out to everybody if they're. What kind of what we talked about with the Equity Council, just kind of gave them an overview of, the budgeting process. And then actually information that's helpful for you all to have before next meeting. And Jake, I can email this to you guys also. Just kind of the timeline for this year's budget development, some of the considerations of the unit value and how the legislature changed. The legislative session impacted the budget and kind of what considerations we have to take into account this year. And so Ashley did a great job of talking them through that. And then we also gave them we also gave them kind of like a high level outline. It was like, we did not break it down by, like, we put all of everything to, simplify it so that everybody can kind of see where we're spending money. And I thought they were like very engaged and asked really good questions. And asked about a little how families can get more involved with advocacy on behalf of the school, which I thought was great. So I think that's something that they kind of are interested, which is something that we have talked about and but just haven't. I was like, they just transparently have not been gotten there.
Yeah.
Like I did not have it to be able to like organize a campaign for the legislative session last September like I did. But I said that's something that going forward that we can definitely work on. I think it's gonna be more important.
Yeah.
Just getting their feedback and input.
Sounds great, yeah.
Yeah. So
Were there any things that they thought they'd like to see next, that you had really put in the budget? I mean, was there any? Question.
No, I'm not saying so. I think parents in general, my read on the conversations that they're very happy with the program. I think they were excited at the idea of getting kids more involved in advocacy and that type of thing, which I thought was cool. But nothing that was like, you should hire a person to do this, or you need this program. They didn't have that.
We were just happy to get some insight on how we implement the stuff that's being proposed in legislature.
Yeah,
Absolutely, that's great.
Yeah, and it's always good to, I think, share,
Full transparency.
liability premiums are going up 15%, and that means this amount of dollars. And so, yes, when they say there's more money going into education, like, here's where it has to go.
Yeah.
So, I think that.
So just a quick question, because of the current climate with like the gas prices and stuff, does that impact us from a bus standpoint?
Yes, but it's gonna be in like 2 years out, some of that stuff, kind of. We'll see the impact happening in like the FY29, FY30.
Because that's when they'll fold it into the.
Exactly, that's gonna get
Gotcha.
folded into the
Okay.
budget,
Okay.
really back to the public education department as far as their overall.
Okay.
Great, any other questions about equity council? All right, next up is co-director report.
Great, so it's a busy couple days, busy month. We have, so Ashley and I met yesterday with Afton, who's doing our financial modeling, just to make some updates and adjustments, so we'll keep working on that kind of long range planning template with them. And we met with Level Field, the facilities partner, a couple weeks ago before the break, just to talk about kind of feasibility and what type of options we might have. I think, it's tricky. I think it'll be tricky and it'll be tight, first of any additional facility exploration, but it sounds doable on some, but we still are waiting to hear a little bit more about what's going on.
We need some more information before we can, like sharing.
Yeah, so we'll have that, we'll have that on our radar and we'll do a kind of more in-depth review once the two groups have talked a little bit. We're working through that. Our lottery is coming up on tomorrow, Friday, it's like on Friday, which is tomorrow. We have, this is out of date, but that's okay. 422 applications, was yesterday. K-5, 430 children. So twins, multiples, all of those things. So 430 children last time I checked yesterday. Which is a lot. It's the most we've ever had. And of those, like 226 are kindergarten, which means our wait list for kindergarten is going to be about 185 kids. Which is like four.
Even longer, right, because of siblings or?
So that's all.
Oh, that's incorporating those, okay.
So we have 20 siblings, staff children, and then 206.
That's.
So what is the last lottery date for most of the charter?
That's a good question.
elementaries?
I don't know. I wish there was like a.
I think you all are like one of the.
We're one of the
last.
last.
One of the last.
We
I
are,
know that.
Yeah.
I think we used to be right in the middle and
Yeah.
everybody.
Everyone kind of
tried
gave
to-
up.
I think a lot of it, I keep
Yeah.
getting Instagram. schools, it's like, yeah, they were like 2 weeks ago.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm right.
Yeah.
Explore is like.
Explore was like at the end of beginning of March, but I know why they're doing it for sure. So that's things they have to take care
Yeah,
of.
but like, I think hopefully people will know by now.
Yeah, I think, and it's like good and bad to do it late, right? Like.
Yeah.
But we do have, so then the process is that we'll do the lottery on Friday and then the following Friday on the 17th, that's the deadline to let us know their decisions. They have a week. On Friday, next week, we have an information session for like an orientation for families who were accepted. So they can come and then decide, or they can decide and then come. But then Monday, the 20th, we'll start filling from the wait list. And then we do go quickly, like it's like a 48-hour turnaround. And so we'll start doing that, and then they have until the end of April to submit all their registration forms. And if they don't have like an immunization record or something like that, they can let us know that and then send it in once they've done those last immunizations.
Last year, did most people take the slots? I remember.
Last year they did, it was like 2 or 3 where we were filling.
Wow.
But then in the first day of school, we had, 3 kids not show up, which has never happened before. So
Yeah.
it just depends. I would anticipate that most of them will
Say yes.
say yes, just based on history, but there will be some that decline, and that's how that goes, so. Which is,
Well, good luck. We're excited to hear.
Yeah,
how
I
exciting.
know. So yeah, we'll share that with everybody. Our attendance, we're still a little bit on the attendance struggle bus. We've got our average that I calculated is about 93% average attendance, which is lower than we've had in the past. We've had more sickness this year, I think, than I can remember. So that's definitely playing a role. And kindergarten still has the most students that are chronically absent. There's 4 kids that we're working with.
All schools seem to be having issues.
It is not
with
just
absenteeism.
that,
It's not
yeah.
just.
And actually, our rate is very good.
I was gonna say, it's compared to what you said in that paper.
Yeah, and but it is still, it's committing and making sure that we're following up with parents and that when kids aren't sick, they're in school.
Mhm.
Cause you can't learn if you're not here, right? So
Yeah, those kindergartners, right?
Yeah, it's the kinder, and you know, fourth and fifth grade are like 96 and
Mhm.
above. Okay, well,
All their immunities have kicked in.
yeah, I guess so, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, so we've got, there are bright spots there, and it does, you know, they're our highest achieving grade levels is fourth and fifth grade. They've also obviously been with us the longest and, very strong cohorts that have the majority of kids that have been with us since kindergarten, so it does make a difference. So that's our attendance. Our Amira, our March, I just have March data. I don't have April because they're still testing. But we are started the year in ELA proficiency at about 69% in school-wide. March, we were at 78% in ELA, and then in math, we started at 79% of students proficient in advanced, and in March, we we're at 87. So we are working through still some of the kinks of the new test, but progress looks like we're making progress. So
It'll be interesting to see if it connects at all to the state.
I am very interested. That's kind of, I think, what we're all.
Yeah, just seeing like how
I
closely
think
that.
everybody's a little nervous.
Yeah.
Because they started, so the next part of the update is they started our state assessments today. Fifth grade is taking science. They'll take science for the next 3 today and then the next two Thursdays. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, the next 2 weeks, kids are taking math next week and then 2 sessions, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, 2 sessions of ELA the following week, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday. So we will see. I think everybody feels, at least all the staff are very like invested and they're practicing and they're making sure kids have strategies. They've obviously been working hard all year to make sure that they're ready. But we will see what happens. Like, oh, but and I just, you know, we'll talk to the kids and hopefully they'll feel that sense of pride of representing what the school has become. So and we do have families, each parent writes a letter for each day, or each family have 1 letter for each day of the test, so that the kids can open a letter from them. You guys wanted this, open a letter from their family before they take the test and just get a little extra boost of self-esteem and confidence, which is cool. So they are gonna be doing that.
Super.
Yeah.
Do you have any updates you'd like to say? Just in time.
I'm sure she did.
So that's it, what I got. So thank you. And anybody have any questions? Oh, we have been working on the bus. And that is all.
That doesn't always.
Yes,
Longest bus situation ever.
yeah, in 2 years of bus work, so.
Okay, great. Are there any other questions for Lisa before we make a motion to adjourn? All right, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Also.